Alright, welcome back everyone to another episode of Unveiled Truths. Just doing some research, and I found this, what we as people like to call real news outlet, PBS NewsHour. And you can find this on the www.pbs.org. And it says that scientists say fetal tissue remains essential for vaccines and developing treatments, which is pretty disgusting. And it was actually published on August 11, 2015 at 11:35 a.m. And I'm just going to read a little bit, then I'm going to talk about it. It says that the Boston furor on Capitol Hill over Planned Parenthood has stoked a debate about the use of tissue from aborted fetuses in medical research, but U.S. scientists have been using such cells for decades to develop vaccines and seek treatments for a host of ailments, from vision loss and neurological disorders to cancers and AIDS. I'm sorry that I almost laughed, but it's pretty sick. Yeah, allergies been messing with me and stuff, so forgive me for clearing my throat or sneezing or whatever. I don't have the C19 or Mr. C19. You gotta careful what word you use, or otherwise YouTube will monetize. They probably already shadow banned me for what I talk about. But anyways, it says anti-abortion activists set off the uproar by releasing undercover videos of Planned Parenthood officials that raised questions of whether the organization was profiting from the sales of fetal tissue. Planned Parenthood has denied making any profit and said it charges fees solely to cover its costs. Now, which costs are they talking about? Are they talking about holding the fetus or fetuses? Are they talking about paying the doctors? Like, what are we talking about here? They don't give us much to go off of, really. It says university laboratories that buy such cells strongly defend their research, saying tissue that would otherwise be thrown out has played a vital role in life-saving medical advances and holds great potential for further breakthroughs. So they just pull the baby out, I guess, however they do it, and then they just throw it away. But these people are saying that they buy the cells, and then they defend their research and so forth and so forth. Like a lot of humans do, they defend their bad behavior, right? It says fetal cells are considered ideal because they divide rapidly, adapt to new environments easily, and are less susceptible to rejection than adult cells when transplanted. If researchers are unable to work with fetal tissue, there is a huge list of diseases for which researchers would move much more slowly rather than quickly to find their cause and how they can be cured. Stanford University spokesman Lisa Lapin said in an email, from 2011 through 2014 alone, 97 research institutions, mostly universities and hospitals, received a total of $280 million in federal grants for fetal tissue research from the National Institute of Health. So just from, they say it like it's not even a big deal, it's so nonchalantly. They say from 2011 to 2014 alone, 97 research institutions, mostly universities and hospitals, received a total of $280 million in federal grants. So not only is the child paid for it in its life, now it's become a business, because now they're receiving federal grants for fetal tissue. Yeah, fetal tissue from our government. So pretty much whether you like it or not, if you're pro-life, non-pro-life, like, you're still paying for it pretty much, because federal government doesn't have any money. They get all their money from the people. So whether you like it or not, you're paying for it. So it says a few institutions have consistently gotten large shares of that money, including Yale, the University of California in Massachusetts, General Hospital, which is affiliated with Harvard. It says the U.S. government prohibits the sales of fetal tissue for profit and requires separation between researchers and the woman who donates fetuses. Some schools go further, requiring written consent from donors. So it says that the U.S. government prohibits the sale of fetal tissue, but they want to give out federal grants for fetal tissue research. Like, that's just a complete and utter contradiction. It's like, okay, we're going to make some laws. Y'all can't do it, but, here's some money so that you can research it, even though we don't allow it. But go ahead. Go ahead. Many major universities declined to make scientists available for interviews about their fetal tissue work, saying the fear for the researchers' safety because the issue is so highly charged. The Planned Parenthood uproar led to a failed attempt by the Republicans to strip the organization of federal funding. U.S. scientists have been using such cells for decades to develop vaccines and seek treatments for a host of ailments, from vision loss and neurological disorders to cancer and AIDS. Researchers use fetal tissue to understand cell biology and human development. Others use it to look for treatments for AIDS. Research on spinal cord injuries and eyesight dropping macular degeneration involves transplanting fetal cells into patients. European researchers recently began putting fetal tissues into patients' brains. Also, now they're just putting it onto the patient's brains. They're like, here, just, we're going to go to like the main breaker pretty much, boy, putting it on the brain. To try to treat Parkinson's, a strategy that previously had mixed results. So it's not even 100% there. So yeah, I just kind of want to talk about this. I mean, this is a huge subject. Of course, I don't agree. For one, it goes against a code of ethics or whatever you want to call it. I mean, killing babies here. This is what we're talking about. Killing babies. It's not moral at all. If you want to call it a moral code, an ethical code, whatever you really want to talk about. I mean, or whatever you want to say that it is, because this is like murdering children here. And not only are people murdering children, and I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because it's just an insane thought that the people are just willfully killing babies just because. And then on top of that, then we got Planned Parenthood, which is becoming, if not already, rapid like banks and churches. There's one on every street corner. Or used car salesmen. Like they got you. Whatever you need to feel comfortable with murdering your baby. They got you. If you want some laughing gas while they pull that thing out of you, they got you. If you need some anesthesia or something so you can go to sleep, they got you. Things good and give us your baby. They got you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be playing around about this, but it's just absolutely insane. Like, it's kind of baffling in a way. Like, where has the nation gone to that murdering babies is normal? Murdering babies is a standard which society says if the woman wants to, then it's okay. But it's not okay. There's nothing about that is okay. It even says in the Bible, you shall not murder. That's in Exodus chapter 20. You shall not murder. And I forget where God says it, but he says, before you was in the womb, I knew you. For the foundations of the world, he knew everyone. Come on now. And we are murdering God's image here. It says that God created man, both him and her, male and female, in his image. And we have normalized it and have said that it is okay. And another question that I always have is, if it's your body, your choice, then why are you messing with someone else's body and messing with their choices? Like, 9 months isn't that long. Then you could just go adopt them out. Or, you could just not do what is required to have a child. Like, you could show some self-restraint. Like, I just feel and have felt that this country is just getting worse and worse, like we see every day. Something new. Or not new, really. It's not new under the sun, but, it's just something that just keeps on pressing it to a further downfall, further downfall, further downfall. And as people, I guess we just think that it's okay, or what? Like, we're not going to be judged for our actions. Like, I'm pretty sure that most people know some type of moral code. Even if you've grown up in poor conditions, like, I'm sure that you know something. Like, you would think that it would be common sense to not murder. You would think that it would come to common sense to not steal. Like, these things seem like common sense. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that seem like common sense. And even churches, like, you don't even have to exactly know all of the Torah. Like, the churches, they will at least tell you, hey, you shall not murder. You shall do the 10 Commandments, even though they're breaking 2 of them. You shall have no other gods before me, and then the Sabbath, because they make up their own Sabbath, which is Sunday. And then so by doing that, then they have a new God, pretty much, so therefore they're having another God. But I'm just saying, at least they tell you about the 10 Commandments. Hey, you should keep the 10 Commandments. I think every Christian, I think, says that, even though they'll probably tell you afterwards that they can't keep all the 10 Commandments. But yet somehow we can keep the millions and so forth laws in the United States. And contradictions like this, like the U.S. prohibits the sale of fetal tissues, but yet they're giving federal grants for it. And not just any federal grants, they're just from those few years. In 3 years, they almost gave $1 million a year for the actual research. $280 million in 3 years. That's almost $1 million a year just to do fetal tissues. And the way that our money inflates and deflates, they could have given more by now, because that $280 million might not do what it did in 2011 through 2014, considering we're right at $27 trillion in debt, and back then I think we was right at 19 trillion, or headed up to 19 trillion. So I'm just saying, like, that's my thoughts, that's my opinions. I mean, everybody's got their own. I'm just saying, I hope that I've said something. I hope that you use some self-autonomy, go out, do your own research, make sure I'm correct. Like I said, you can find this. This is public information. All I did was type in, scientists say that baby fetuses are essential for vaccines. And then it should pop up on the first one too. The first and second one is pop up www.pbs.org, and then it'll say /news hour health medical research, say fetal tissue remains essential, and so forth. So, anyways, I hope that y'all have a good night, good day, wherever you may be at, and shalom.